Alaska Grand presents Taming the Alaska Hummingbird, the story behind The Shot. Now, sit back and let Alaska take your breath away. Meet Rufus, a small male hummingbird who has just made the 2,500-mile journey from Mexico. He has come this summer to Alaska to find a mate and make a family. But right now, all he wants is that hummingbird feeder all to himself. He stayed here for hours one evening at Sultry Lodge, a remote fishing lodge near Ketchikan. Sometimes he drank the nectar, but most of the time he simply chased the other hummingbirds away. Scott found this so amusing that he set up his camera and filmed the event. The other hummingbirds were starting to get extremely hungry at this point, and they were looking for an alternative. They found his red camera strap particularly interesting and were flying in between Scott and his camera, focusing on the strap. He decided right then to try something. He poured some nectar on his hand and held it out steady. The birds were interested and were getting closer and closer. After about 10 minutes of holding completely still, this happened. So light that Scott could hardly feel the sharp little claws, the hummingbird trusted Scott with his life in exchange for a little food. A breathtaking experience, he was able to feed a couple of different birds that evening. But the light was getting low, and the birds were getting scarce. Rufus also decided to call it a night. Later in the coming weeks, Scott, Amber, and Molly, as well as his daughters, tried different approaches to getting the birds to eat out of their hands. They were richly rewarded by the little birds, whose song and wing flutter were quite loud against the stillness of the Alaskan air. Everyone got to feel the hummingbirds' touch, hear their song, and gain their trust. Scott set up the cameras many times that summer, and one day, when the birds were particularly hungry, he captured a picture that had people exclaiming that it took their breath away. He got the shot. He took many others that day, but none captured the magic of that little bird sitting in Amber's hand, completely trusting her, while the other bird patiently waited his turn to do the same. Later that summer, the birds started their migration back to Mexico with their families in tow, completing another migration that has occurred for thousands of years. With their long journey, they bring us closer together, sharing experiences with one another that will never be forgotten. That truly is the blessing of Alaska. The memories it gives freely without asking for anything other than for you to leave the stress of life behind and settle into the wide open expanses and absorb the captivating wildlife. Alaska truly is the last frontier. Please consider Sultry Lodge for your next Alaska vacation. Sultry Lodge Alaska Series. The beauty and majesty of Alaska as seen through the eyes of Scott Kemp, owner of Sultry Lodge near Ketchikan. With his cameras in tow, he captures Alaska from unique perspectives on high-definition video. Visit SultryLodge.com and his photography site at AlaskaGrand.com to see his work. Let Alaska take your breath away.